Steve Cohen making a huge splash on Thursday as the New York Mets acquire both Carlos Carrasco and Francisco Lindor in a deal with the Cleveland Indians as we bring aboard Arden Zwelling Ben Nicholson-Smith. A lot of Jays ramifications, you would think, Arden, after this deal is done between New York and Cleveland.
Yeah, the biggest one for me is, what does this mean for George Springer's market? Are the Mets still going to be bidding highly for him, or does this take him or take them out of his market? Because that's the biggest ramification now for the Blue Jays, because Francisco Lindor is not going to be a Toronto Blue Jay. We know that. So they're still very interested in George Springer. And as we understand it, has been basically the Mets and Blue Jays going back and forth in that market. So now is Steve going just, writing blank checks and going to go nuts and add Springer to this bunch, along with the Carrasco money and the Lindor money and what it will likely cost to extend Francisco Lindor? And you have to think there's some certainty there that the Mets are going to be able to extend him, considering what they gave up in this trade. So, that's a lot of money when you consider that George Springer is likely, looking at 5 years and he wants 150, we've heard 125, somewhere in that range. So, if the Mets are still involved in that bidding, that's unfortunate for the Blue Jays. If it takes them out of that bidding, well, then that could create an interesting lane for the Blue Jays to add a premium center fielder.
For sure. And I mean, first off, what a great move by the Mets. I mean, you got to like what this does to their roster, to their rotation. Pretty exciting times, no doubt, to be a Mets fan. As for the Blue Jays, first off, Lindor was the best infielder at a time that the Blue Jays were trying to improve their infield and are trying to improve their infield. So we can say definitively they are not getting the best option on the infield market. There are other players. They will get one of those players and they'll improve on the infield, but not with the best option available. And, as Arden said, the Springer question, I think, is really interesting. And there could be trickle down with some other free agents as well. You look at DJ LeMahieu, he was linked to the Mets. They just add an infielder, and again, an elite infielder in Lindor, maybe a little bit less likely to need DJ LeMahieu at this point. And if you look at Trevor Bauer, who again has been linked to the Mets, well, Carlos Carrasco is also a really good pitcher, even though he's not the headliner in this trade. Now you add him to Syndergaard and Stroman and DeGrom. All of a sudden, the Mets, I'm sure, could benefit from having Trevor Bauer, but they might not need him in the same way. So again, where does that leave Bauer? Could that impact the Blue Jays? We know that he met with them on New Year's Eve. So there's a lot of trickle down from this, but bottom line, the Mets made themselves a lot better.
And Bob Nightingale did report Thursday that Trevor Bauer likely out of the picture in New York, but the Mets remain engaged in talks with free agent center fielder George Springer.